Hello, today is May 11th, 2024. Today we're going to be talking about algebra. We were starting with introduction of some basic concepts. So if I give you this number, I'm asking, what is it? You say, this is number 1. That's correct. Also, we can call this a term. In particularly, this is the constant term. Okay, so if I give you an English letter X, I'm asking you, what is this? You'll tell me this is an X. Also, people might call it variable. Again, we can also call this is the term. Okay, so what if I combine those two terms together? Let's say I say X plus 1. Notice the guy in the middle? This is called the operator. How many operators are there? There's quite a few. But for now, I just want you guys to understand the following operator, which is addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Okay? So X plus 1, it is one term with the operator of another term. The whole thing, it is called expression. Okay? And then, let's look at it a little bit further. If I give you a term X, this can also be called as monomial. Okay, if I give you something like that, X plus 1, notice it's one term with the operator with another term, so total there's 2 terms. For stuff like that, we call it binomial. Okay, so what if I give you something like the following: x squared plus 3x plus 6. Notice it's one term connected by an operator to another term, and then another operator, third term. So we have 1, 2, 3 terms connected by an operator. This is called the trinomial. So what about I have something like this: 3x cubed plus 2x squared subtract 7x subtract 5. Then we got a one term, one operator, another term, another operator, third term, operator, and then fourth term. This is called a polynomial. Again, if we have more than 4 terms, they all called polynomials. Okay. Now we understand the fundamentals. There's a couple more things I want to explain to you guys. For instance, if I give you the x, x is also equal to 1 times x. Okay, so people often omit the 1 times x. Okay, and then it is also equal to x to the power of the 1. Notice the number on the upper right hand side, we call this power. In this specific case, it is a power of 1. Again, we might have y squared. That is the power of 2, so on and so forth. Okay, x can also be equal to a fraction, let's say 2 over 2 times x. You agree? Right? Because 2 and 2 cancel out, it becomes 1 times x, which is x, as what we just stated. Similarly, y could be equal to y 3 over 3, because those 3 cancel out, that's y to the power of 1, which is equal to y. So those kind of transformation, between those different forms, you should be able to familiar with those. Now, since we understand the fundamental of the polynomials, let's do some operation between polynomials. So, for instance, if I give you one polynomial as 3x squared plus 5, I give you another polynomial as 5x subtract 7. I want you to combine those two, which means I want one polynomial and another polynomial. How do you do that? Okay, so first you need to list them vertically. How do you do that? You write down 3x squared, but the second thing is power x to the power of 1, which you do not have yet. If you don't have it, I want you to leave the space open for that. And then you go to constant term, which is plus 5. Again, when you write on this, you go backwards. You write on negative 7, which is immediately beneath the constant term from previous polynomial. And then the 5x, you will be immediately underneath right here. And then you're going to do the addition. So 5 plus negative 2, negative 7, that's equal to negative 2. And then nothing plus 5x, 5x. 3x squared plus nothing is going to be 3x squared plus. Okay, so the result will be right here. It will be 3x squared plus 5x subtract 2. So that is the addition of polynomials. Now let's look at another operation of polynomials. So let's do the subtraction. So if I give you 3x squared plus, x squared plus 3x plus 6, I also give you another polynomial, which is 3x squared plus 5x. Now I want you to subtract from those two. So what you need to do, again, you list the polynomial vertically. So first is x squared plus 3x plus 6. The second one go backwards. So they don't have constant term, but all they have is the term with x to the power of 1. So you line up with this guy right here. So you write out 5x. And then 3x squared is going to be underneath the x squared. You put a subtraction sign right here. You use the brackets, the parentheses, to separate your operation with the rest of the polynomial. And then you write down like that. So 6 subtract nothing is 6. Positive 3x, remember, everything is subtraction. Subtract 5x. So basically it's the 3x subtract 5x. So this guy, the number right here, we call it coefficient. And then those x right here, we call it variable, as we stated earlier. So when you do this operation, you put the same variable aside, you use the coefficient to subtract each other. Again, you need to follow the order, because the first coefficient is 3, the operator in between is subtraction, the second the second coefficient is 5, and then we close it. So negative 3 subtract 5, which give you negative 2, and then times x. Again, this is something I want to remind you guys. If I have 2x, that actually implies 2 times x. Okay? So here, 3x subtract 5x, what we have is this guy right here. It's negative 2x. And then again, this is the plus sign here, plus sign here. And then x squared subtract 3x squared. So x squared subtract 3x squared. Again, the same variable with the same power, right? So that's thing we put it aside. We combine those two coefficients. Again, as we addressed earlier, if we don't write down anything in front of the variable, that implies there's a number 1 right here. So it's 1 times x squared. So in this case, if we factor all those coefficients, it's going to be 1 subtract 3, and then times x squared. In this case, that's negative 2x squared. So it's negative 2x squared. So that is the solution of the difference between those two polynomials. Okay, so let's try one more example. That example is talking about, talking about multiplication of two variables. Before doing that, there's a two formula I want you guys to memorize. One is a to the power of the n times a to the power of the n. What does that equal to? By the way, those 2a, we call it base. So if we have exponents with the same base, we just simply write on the base, and then we add those two powers. So it's n plus f. Okay, similarly, if a to the power of n divided by a to the power of m, with the condition that a is not equal to 0, in that case, that equal to a to the power of n subtract m. So notice the division right here corresponding to the subtraction, the multiplication right here corresponding to the addition. Okay? And then the third one is a to the power of the n, and then parentheses, the whole thing to the power of m. What is that equal to? That equal to a to the power of n times m. Okay? So those three formulas are very, very important. I want you guys to memorize. It will definitely help you in the test. So I will end up the lecture with one last example. So it's going to be x squared plus 3x plus 6. That's my first polynomial. The next one is 3x squared plus 5x. That's my second polynomial. By the way, as I stated earlier, this polynomial is called a trinomial, but this one is binomial. But in general, people kind of like be sloppy, like what I just demonstrated. They just say it's a polynomial in general. Okay, now we got one polynomial to multiply a second polynomial. How do we do that? Actually, it's very simple. You look at your first polynomial, and then you use your first term to multiply each of the term in the second polynomial, like that. And then after you're done with that, you go to the second term, use the second term, try to multiply each of the terms in your second. You use your second term to times each terms in the second polynomial. And then exactly you do the same thing for your last term right here, which is this term times this term, and then this term times this term. Okay, so now you know how to do that. Let's work all together. So the first one is x squared times 3x squared. Okay, and then the next term would be x squared times 5x. X squared times 5x. And then we start from the second term, which is 3x times the first term right here is 3x squared. And then we use these terms times the second term right here, which is 3x times 5x. Now we move to the last term of the first polynomial, which is 6 times the first term right here, which is the 3x squared. And then the last term of the first polynomial times the last term of the last polynomial. And then it would be 6 times 5x. Now what we need to do is we need to combine those based on the formula we just talked about. In this case, if you view x as the a, so x to the power of 2 is x to the power of 2. So x stays the same, those two add together. So it will be 3x2 plus 2, and then that will be 5x2 plus 1. Remember, if we don't write down anything, that implies the power is 1. And then 3 times 3 gives you 9x to the power of 1 plus 2. And then 3 times 5 is 15x to the power of 1 plus 1. And then plus 6 times 3, which is 18x to the power of 2, and then 30x. Now, let me see. I know it's a little bit hard for you guys, but for me, you know what? Let me put it right here so that way you guys can still see it. So that's what we have, right? So now we need to simplify this. So the first one will be 3x to the power of 4. The next one is 5x to the power of 3. The next one will be 9x to the power of 3. And then the next one will be 15x to the power of 2 plus 18x to the power of 2 plus 30x. Okay, and then it will be 3x4. Those two can combine together, will be 14x3 plus those two combined together, 15, that will be 33x plus 30x. Okay, so that's pretty much it for today. Good luck for the study. Feel free to leave any question or comments in the commenting area. And then I will see you guys in the next lecture. Thank you. Bye-bye.